All right, let's call our Civic Center Commission meeting on October 23rd to order. We'll start off with acceptance of the minutes of our September 25th meeting.
Mr. Chairman, 2 items on the minutes?
Yes, go ahead.
First off, Matt, with all the changes and stuff coming, I think we got to get up to speed. And I know there's a lot of reference to ASM Global. So if we could kind of change that to Legends Global. I know it's just a lot.
Yeah, I think I started in the minutes at some point going ASM/Legends.
Yeah, so
because I wasn't sure how to properly reference you guys. Sandy, is it officially Legends?
Legends Global.
Legends Global.
This way we'll look like we know that we're paying attention.
Yeah, it was a transition that when I was writing the minutes, it's like, I forget how I should refer to it.
And there's a lot of reference to it too.
Legends
I know it's, a lot of it's cut and paste what you do, and I'm sorry to do that.
So, as a revision, you're asking me to just go through and clean it up? Which is
starting this date on.
Okay.
Why don't we do that, make it easier for you?
Okay.
And then one other thing, Matt, on that item 2M, where we talked about the Legends using their own funds for that. I would like to have a copy of the law department opinion attached to the minutes.
Okay.
Okay. And also, can we change the wording on that, the second part of that, where it says, currently we are applying prevailing wage rate requirements until further investigation indicates otherwise. That sounds like we're just waiting for the opportunity to cut some working guys' wages. So I don't think
my understanding is it was we were waiting on a final review between the city and the state, because it's a different office. They're asking if the management agreement requires prevailing wage.
Based on our subsequent meeting, just strike the whole thing.
So the last
We're not
line will not be,
Yeah,
we're just going to move forward as we do it.
Now, we're not going to continue pursuing it because it's never going to happen again.
Okay. Works for me.
It's,
And if it does, it'll be 9 years from now.
it'll be 9 years from now.
Yeah, and none of us are going to have to worry about it. I just,
No, good point.
Just clarification, say, yeah, we can strike the whole thing.
I'll strike that second line completely.
Okay, perfect, that's all I have. That, with those changes, I would make the motion to approve.
Anybody else? Second? Second. Approval of the minutes as amended. So moved. Thank you. City of Worcester project status update. All right.
So, cooling tower got installed, running, and everything. 2 days prior to Rob needing to make ice. So everything worked out exactly. So right now it's running. We have ice. As you can see, we've already had railers out there for a week or two practicing and playing and things like that. And now Disney on Ice is actually out there using our ice, where last year they had to bring in their rental because of the emergency repair at the rink. So this year's a much better start than last year. The trash room is moving forward. We're dealing with a few different RFI things. They're mostly just measurements just to make sure like the compactor is going to line up with the gate, things like that. It's minor details. The general contractor, Cole Contracting, has been very good to work with as we bounce around events and schedules get pushed out, so they have to revise accordingly. We're still looking at being done by Wednesday, the 26th, prior to Thanksgiving. Nothing has come up to indicate otherwise, and the contractors still said that yes, that's the date he expects to be done. The other items we really have going on is the freight elevator design is still intended to be out to bid shortly so that we can start getting under contract. So we have elevator designs, structural rigging grid, and the arena chiller are the three, air conditioning chiller are the three projects we're looking to bid by the end of the calendar year, so we can start digging into contracts, contractor coordination. I know Sandy had brought that up, having someone at the table would really help understand what's going on and how we can or can't add events depending on what goes on next summer. So we are still pushing forward with that. Revolving door design, we're just working on a couple items. We did get the geotech. We generally are settled with what that scope needs to do. There's just a little civil engineering support that needs to be added to the architect's scope just to deal with the under the sidewalk thing so it doesn't heave later when we redo the doors to double doors. As I was understanding, that's still the plan. This is probably, we're looking to be able to go out to bid either late winter and then just figure out how that lands. We've got a couple things. Big picture, we've had a meeting with Sandy and Jim. Jim Bedard, my boss, Jim McMahon, Sandy, and myself all met to discuss current capital planning with the available funds we have. And so right now, if you look at the budget sheet, you'll show that we're at about just shy of $4.5 million left to encumber, spend, however you want to put it. And so we're due to get a 90% estimate in a couple weeks for the arena chiller. But until we get that, we're using a placeholder of $1 million just for the construction cost. Similar with the elevator, that is like we're another $1 million placeholder until we get a defined estimate. And then we have the structural steel. In 2022, when we went to bid, we bid it based on an estimate of $2.2 million. So right there, we're looking at $4.2 million, assuming those numbers hold. And that's just based on estimates, and when actual bids come in, they could go higher or lower. So we are almost maxed out just with those 3 projects going into next year to spend money and still have money left.
Yeah. And what do we foresee for money coming to us next year?
I cannot answer that. I do not know if there is any money coming. I'm not saying there isn't, but it's October. Tim McGurthy and Jim Bedard haven't come back to me with any anticipation of what next year's capital budget might be and if they're going to try to add or not. Normally, I think we start hearing that stuff later in November, December. So I will see if there's any word what they're thinking of doing and where it's going. But right now, I don't have any updates.
Okay. Yeah, because
The expectation is that we're out of money.
Is there a must-do list?
It's long.
It's long.
This is the must-do list, so.
This is the priority of the long must-do list.
Yeah, that's why Jim, Matt and I met, was that we have this $4 million, this is all we have, this is all we're gonna have. Let's prioritize what are the $4 million that are the projects that we have to get done, that will have highest and best return on the investment. So these are the ones that we prioritized. Beyond that, the list is long.
Yeah, in the past, we've been talking about, kind of tapping into or somehow tapping into the State House, trying to get some funds from the State House, and we haven't really moved on that. Maybe that's
The city has moved on that.
Oh, the city has.
And they
moved on.
continue to move on that.
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah.
They are trying to figure out the right avenue to do that.
Maybe we as the commission can support or
Yeah.
advocate more strongly for that, given our situation.
So I would agree with you, Commissioner Harding. Is there, I'll ask you guys can tell me, would it be worth getting the team in here, our state legislators?
I would suggest a meeting with Tim McGurthy or the city manager. Tim McGurthy's riding lead on it.
Okay.
I know I owe him something in that regard. I don't know what the timing is that it's ready for everybody to jump on legislators, but
Would you think there'd be any value of having them come to one of our meetings to discuss further, or?
might reach out to them to see
Okay.
whether it's time yet.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just a question for Sandy. Would it be possible to take that long list and just quantify it to some
It's
extent?
quantified.
It is quantified. So,
Remember, Populous came in 2021. They did a full building assessment, the
Yeah.
entire building, and from that, and they also gave a vision plan,
Mhm.
and from that, they gave us a quantified list, and then it was put out of years 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, through the next 10 years with a CPI adjustment every year of what it's going to cost to do all that.
so what's the cost? What's
I don't know.
So that number, I mean, if we're gonna lobby the legislature, we should at least have a number. We'd love
Tim
to have
McGurthy
this.
has that, and
Yeah.
that's what he's working with, so.
So, I'm going to reach out works for you all. I'll reach out to Tim, just to have a conversation, try to get an idea, and then to follow up on Commissioner Hardine's request too about where we are with the state legislature too, just to see where we are with that too, and try to have that report back for the next meeting.
Jim and I would note that we have this year both the Republican State Convention and the Democrat State Convention.
Yeah.
So it's a good year,
Good
either going up
opportunity.
into that or coming out of that.
Yeah.
And we can make a great intention to turn off the heat and air
Yeah,
conditioning and
no AC,
make sure the
yeah.
plumbing doesn't work and.
Yeah. Tony, I think in your
We won't be here.
conversation.
As a consultant, we may advise.
That's right.
I think that's important to include in your conversation that, we are hosting those conventions and, DCU is an important part of making these events really be successful. So, I think that it gives a strong argument for us to kind of lean into them a little bit stronger now.
Yeah.
Take them to the back of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be out of the ordinary for us to have a conversation with them when we're here as host city, whether it be through DCM or whatnot, so we can talk about that.
Actually, I'm going to jump on what Lenny just said. Would it be worth having a tour with the state legislatures through the back of the house or the areas of need? Because
Yeah.
I don't know, I would imagine just as we all reacted to it, I'm sure they'd get the same reaction out of it.
Sure.
I'll defer to you guys, but I'll reach out to Tim in the meantime.
Yeah.
Strategically, I think we should concentrate on the Central Mass delegation because that's going to be who will fight for it. So we might target that ahead of the conventions so that they're understanding. I think what they need to see is the baseline, what's expected, and what we're competing against regionally,
Yeah.
and then how our facilities differ in terms of maintenance and upkeep. And then we want them to be prepared to sort of go to battle. But my sense is this will end up being a Central Mass issue because everyone's fighting for their own piece, right?
Yeah,
So,
of course. All right, very good. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. And the only thing I would add to that is, when it comes from our department, it is harder to look at what would happen 2, 3, 4 years from now, because right now I'm saying nothing. Every last penny we have, we're going to be holding for the repairs that we have to cover that aren't under the management agreement's responsibility and working through that. So those last couple $100,000 that may be there, assuming everything fits within our original estimate, probably will have to be held for at least a year just to deal with these pop-up emergency repairs, things like that. So it's gonna be very difficult for me to explain to the commission what we're looking to do after next summer. And normally that means, like we were talking, 18 months, 24 months. It's hard to say how can we impact them or not the following summer if we don't know if we have the money to do anything. So that's all I'm bringing up.
To spin positive on this,
Yeah.
how easy is it for you to go back and provide us a list of the last 5 years, even 10, of all the projects we've done, what the total costs were? Because I think part of that story is that the city has put in tremendous amounts of money to this building without any help. And that should be part of the story going forward because in other cities, Springfield, we've assessed, Boston, they're putting in monies that are state monies. And we're putting in monies that are city monies. So to be able to kind of get an assessment of, and okay, it came out of the diff potentially, but I think that if we show that the city didn't abandon the building and now it's falling down and we need your help, state, I think is a good story to tell.
Yeah.
Agreed. I don't know because we did change our budgeting software about 4 or 5 years ago. So
Maybe
from now till then,
Why don't you go back?
prior to that, I've got to figure out what it will take. But
best as you can.
I think I agree with you.
it can be high level. I think too much detail is too much detail, so I think you want to
But I agree. in
Just a
buckets.
big number and
Yeah,
like
architectural
bullets of
things.
what that number covered.
Yeah.
Maybe some key proof points of bigger ticket items or whatnot, or most. May I ask a question of you, Matt? So we segued from some of the line items on the capital project list to the budget very quickly. So there's just two questions I would have. When we look at the revolving door replacement project and we look at like the structural rigging, I think where I get a little bit nervous is we're very vague about when the bids will go out and when the expected completion will come in. And I feel like I'm hypersensitive to us missing the boat on some of these things. So if we were to backwards engineer it and say this must be done, completed by X, can we figure out what our drop dead date is to get bids out and then plan our work schedule towards meeting that? Right
Yes,
now, it's
right now,
forward
the drop
looking.
dead date to have bids out is November 15th.
Let's put that on these. Because right
Okay, I
now,
can start updating
I think
more
that's-
steps in the schedule
well,
versus.
I just think that's a key toll gate, a key milestone that we'd want to note. Because when I see, like what you said is we'll get, we have to find out what's under the sidewalk and we'll be getting a bid out late winter for the revolving door. What that flags for me is, ooh, well, late winter can turn into early spring. Early spring can mean that this isn't done in time, and we have a very defined in advance, with great preparation and, loss of yield that we have to plan around, or I should say these guys have to plan around. So I think we need to have some precision on the planning end of how do we meet that target. I don't think it's I think it's less of a moving target than we think. I think that if we clear the building for July and August, then we have to be really clear on if we don't get our bids out by this date, and then hold our vendors and our other constituents accountable to those dates, because we just can't afford to miss projects. Again, it costs us 10 times more money in the long run.
So add a column that would be planned bid date?
I would say,
I could
you know
have
what
a column
I would
that
like to see?
explains the difference between status and expected completion, where I just add a column of the expected completion is that phase design bid construction.
You know what, I think what I'd like to see is, estimated completion, bid would need to be completed, submitted by, like, what's your
So
target?
you want the
date?
dates from the
I want what are the key things
construction
that have to
completion
happen?
backwards.
Exactly. And I would want to know, if you're going to get this project underway and completed by August, then you have to be shoveling ground by July or May. You'll know that per project, or at least have a sense of it. You're building a buffer, which means then you're going to back up 4 weeks for selection, 6 weeks for selection, whatever the process is. You better sit in sight to that. So now you know that you have to be making your decision by April, which means you have to be sending your bid out by November. And I just feel like that piece is missing on that. And I feel like it's a piece of accountability that sort of slipped. So rather than have us have the same conversation again and again, I think if we backwards engineer from what has to happen and what those other things that have to happen by certain points, or else we will not meet that deadline, I think that's a good way of us holding ourselves accountable.
All right. You got it.
All right, very good, thank you.
I'll clean it up.
Man.
The only other couple of minor updates is the network UCS upgrade. You had previously approved $140,000 for the additional storage equipment. The final quote did come in at 132 and change. I forget what that change is. I wrote it down somewhere in here.
48 cents.
Thank you. And so that is going to, that's moving forward. We've issued the PO, they've
Great.
ordered it. We've got one small minor change order to work through still. That's just some like cables. It's like a $3,000 max is what I'm being told, between the cables and a little software. I think it's called Beam. It has something to do with how you store your data. It makes it easier to find your data that's stored, instead of saying like there's a whole file closet. You can actually say, there's a document in that folder. That's what we want to recover, not have to recover everything all. I just learned that myself yesterday, so these network projects are quite educating for me.
You're talking to boomers, man. We don't have any idea what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm getting at, but it's all about how you back up your storage so you don't lose it, and if you do lose it, do you have to bring everything back or just specific pieces that were lost? So we're working on that. That's moving forward. We are still moving forward with back-of-house design for plumbing specifically, because it's the greatest impact it appears right now. I talked to Rob and we're trying to figure out, kind of get an idea of why is it certain areas of the arena have that really bad water and certain don't. And he believes it may actually be part of like those central column showers. The actual unit itself may be the thing that's creating more of the sediment and darker water, whether it's old seals wearing or whatever within the unit. And we are talking about removing that anyway and going to a perimeter shower head so people aren't all looking at each other, because we do have like a much outdated concept of locker room. So we're going to start digging into that so we can start figuring out how maybe we can do the plumbing upgrade, so at least see if we can fit that in, how it might fit still within the budget if there is money. So we're going to keep moving on that because it is something we've already allocated money for. So we're going to keep working on that. They're looking to have their consultant come out, I believe, next week. One to double check just some electrical stuff for the arena chiller, just to make sure we have the scope appropriate, and start looking at the plumbing. So they're going to come out and actually just get more exact existing conditions things so they can understand how to address it and where to go from there. They also will probably have structural engineers out to do one last look up on the mezzanine, just to confirm that with their code review, because it was designed a few years ago, that what they're looking at up there, what they're seeing on the drawings is accurate. It's one of those difficult things when you do design something and you walk away from it for 3 years. Engineers tend to want to make sure that everything's right, so they're going to come back and look at it again. So that's what we're doing, and they're going to try to come out, I believe, also next week, so that all the I's and dotted T's crossed, so we can go to bid in November. I've reached out for a small scope of concrete repairs for the exhibit hall. It would be one of those less than 10,000 quotes, just to hit certain parts that are worse than others. Most of those are still at the south end. There's a couple areas that we actually never got to with the last one. And so we want to hit some of those and some newer areas popping up. So I've been working with Rob just to make sure, and once we actually get that under contract, we'll make sure Rob or Jim, or whoever's in Jim's role, depending on the timing of that, but I do expect that'll be in play before these two leave. So we're going to try to focus on the priorities there. And that's kind of where we're at. Well, I have a meeting with Fire Protection Inspection Division and our engineers, so we can try to finally get that convention center panel replacement repair moving forward. That is next Tuesday. So walking out of next Tuesday, I am hoping by the end of the week the permit has been issued. And we can actually get Del Signori and JCI out here to really get started on that. Because that's going to resolve some troubles in that panel that we haven't been able to resolve until that permit gets issued. So we're working on some of that, and I think that's my update for the week.
All right, very good.
Tony, one question.
Yes, sir.
Matt, the dash fell off the radar.
It's not mine anymore.
Oh, it's-
We transferred it right over to ASM, and so they're going to take care of it. Well, Legends, I apologize. So they're working with whatever method they choose to do. I don't even want to make assumptions.
And it is moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, and T-Mobile and Verizon Wireless have both committed to the project.
Yeah.
And they have a site survey that they're working on scheduling to come in November at some point. Yeah, so it will happen.
If they need some backup, I had forwarded Matt the information for this DAS guy. He's a you know, knows all about DAS, particularly for this type of.
That's what these
facility.
people do.
If they
Yeah,
want to-
we're good. And I would expect them, you know, probably by next summer, it'll be completed, so. So we move on to us?
Yeah, there's a, thank you, Matt, thank you. No community day applications.
One note, if you don't mind on that, I did receive an application after I sent the agenda up Tuesday morning. So it's a last minute thing, but the application's last minute, but they've been working with the Jim and his team for some months now, setting up this dental program that they want to do November 15th, and it is kind of a help people that have difficulties get like some free dental services and assistance, things like that. Because it missed this meeting, the request is the commission interested in having a short, quick meeting next week to review that application and approve it for the November 15th event? Because we just missed our deadline to get it in.
This new,
So,
or have we done this before?
May I speak to this one just?
inaugural, it'd be the
So-
first time.
Hang on. Go ahead.
It'd be the
Okay.
first time.
So Dan DiTullio reached out to me. He's the external affairs person for the Mass Dentists Association. So they're mirroring an event that is done in Connecticut where all the dentists give their time to provide free dental care to anyone who walks in the building, which is quite needed in our community. It's a really big thing. So I would say he's been planning with Jamon for probably about 3 or 4 months now.
Since the spring.
Since the spring, and their food, and they have 400 dentists and hygienist volunteers, plus then some other staff, and I think like the food and beverage bill is about $15,000.
So I'm not sure about that,
Okay.
but they have a pretty high bill because of everything that they're bringing into the building. They're
So-
bringing in full dental rooms.
Yes.
And they're using the exhibit hall for it.
So they'll be doing this regardless, and I think it just slipped focus to get the paperwork in to ask for the whatnot. So, you know, I would request that we consider having a short meeting next week to, with enough time, or give ourselves enough time, I guess. It was within the 48-hour window to get on the agenda, was that it?
That's what we missed. I didn't get the application until later Tuesday.
Okay.
Part of that was, I was notified that there was an intent and you need the application form later Friday, but then I was out sick Monday.
Okay.
So I didn't get him the application form until first thing Tuesday morning, and then I had an hour to get the agenda posted because of the 48-hour notice for today's meeting.
Yeah.
So he couldn't get it back to me until about 11 o'clock in the morning, and it just, I wasn't prepared and able to put it on there because I wasn't sure I would have the application in time to get it out. So,
Yeah, so I second Kate's suggestion.
Can we do a Zoom?
Yeah, hang on one sec. Jim, are you guys, do you guys have a date all set? I mean-
Yeah, there's already a date all set, and they've actually signed the contract back in July.
All right, so, can we do something?
Like a 15-minute Zoom or something, or 5-minute Zoom.
we'll do the Teams meeting and anybody can remote in just like we did before.
Hang on.
Nobody has to be in a room to do
I
that.
got a lot going on next week, so let's just.
I don't know what your,
From Jim's perspective, are there other things happening other than the dental cleaning? Because this is the Mass Dental Association meeting.
Correct.
And they happen to be doing this.
So this is a one-off event that they're doing, so it's not a dental association meeting. They run other events around the state, and they since then have been in touch with us about doing other events here too. One of them we couldn't do because the date was already contracted for another event. So this could lead to other events
Yeah, no, of
that
course.
the dental association do here.
Yeah.
They obviously run one in Boston called the Yankee Dental, which has thousands and thousands,
Yeah.
which we could not accommodate, but hopefully we'll get others because of this.
Yeah, sure.
But this is just for the servicing of dental care.
Just the dental care only, correct.
That's what I wanted.
So, I don't know, do you have a date in mind that
Do
you want to
you,
meet?
is your calendar the most complex?
No,
I would just
we
ask
need to
anything not.
do we still have to stay with the 48-hour notice?
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking at
Preferably
Monday
Wednesday,
or
Thursday, Friday
Tuesday?
would be better.
Yeah.
Next Thursday or Friday?
Or even Wednesday, I can make it happen. It's just, Tuesday would really put me in a bind because I would have to have that agenda out tomorrow before whatever time we chose Tuesday. So
So I can do Wednesday morning my schedule is open.
I can do Wednesday as well.
I can do Wednesday before 10.
So we want to do Wednesday 8:30?
Yes.
Does that work?
8:30 Wednesday?
Wednesday the 29th, 8:30 a.m.?
Okay. And do we want to just post it strictly as a remote meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know the rules on that. I don't think it matters if it's just a remote meeting. Open meeting law, do we actually have to have a site, or can we identify it just as remote? I don't know if you...
I think remote only is fine, a lot of the other boards do it.
Okay, so there's not necessarily a site where someone from the public might say, well, where do I go?
No,
I think, Matt, as long as the public is allowed to
Speak if
participate if necessary, then we've met that burden.
All right, then I'll
So only
issue
one-
it that way without
One
identifying.
agenda. Only
One agenda item,
Yeah.
and it'll just be at 8:30, Wednesday morning, remote only. It won't be advertised to have a local.
Yeah, so what
I'll
we'll
even
do,
put a disclaimer on the agenda to clarify, because the agenda template has all this stuff on the left now that kind of implies that there might be a location that's always there, and I just don't want conflict, so I'll just state right in the body of the agenda that remote meeting only.
we're going to open the meeting. That'll be the only item on the agenda.
Yeah.
And then from there we adjourn.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll get that out.
Quick comment.
Commissioner.
How is this event being publicized so that people who really need it can benefit from it? I'm just curious.
I think it's going to go through like Mass Public Health
Oh, okay.
and things like that. They want us to keep it sort of quiet too, because they just want everybody, so
Yeah.
people have to register to some degree for it.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-day, well, it's a setup day and an event day, because they have a lot of equipment.
No, again, it's such an important.
So I think the model, in talking to the person who's helping to set it up, Connecticut's best practice has been to give about 2 weeks' notice and not much more than that, because they typically are over full even with 2 weeks' notice.
There's a big need for
There's a big need, so the further they put it out, they see two things. One is more demand than they can
Right.
support. The second thing is there are a lot of people who have major issues with weight.
Yes, yes.
So instead of going to ER or whatnot, so they try to avoid that because it's stuff they can't handle.
Of course.
And then it takes more spaces and time than.
Right.
All right, very good. So we'll have that meeting next Wednesday at 8:30.
I just want to
Thank you
say
very
it's so
much.
important
Thank
to
you.
support this kind of initiative.
Huge
Yeah,
thing,
for sure.
thank you guys
That's what it's
very
for.
much.
That's what community days are for.
All right, item number 4 is Legends Global Reporting.
All right. Jim and I are leaving. January 2nd is the target
Real.
target date. Both of us have committed to, obviously, we'll be available for years, so any needs that come up. We also committed to doing short-term consulting agreements if we get to January 2nd and corporate's uncomfortable that they have the right succession plan in place. We'll be available to help those individuals through a succession plan, so no ball to be dropped here, and we're available to the city as well.
Well, it'll certainly be a historical day to see you two stepping aside, because you guys have been the pillar of this complex for decades, you know, and like I told you offline, it's, you know, I'm grateful that it was you two here
Thank you.
carrying the torch. So
Thank you.
thank you guys.
We've been a very good team together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
so-
that's for sure.
And we're there and committed to our directors as well. So they're part of that team as well. The good news is we made a couple of meetings. Jim and I, between us, have 85 years of experience, 43 and 42. But our directors combined also have 85 years of experience. So we don't have any director that's under, I think, 10 years in the building. So they all can carry the ball admirably. So that's that. AIBA conference, I went to early in the month. That's in Nashville. I've gone in previous years, kind of go every other year. Our corporation, which is good with this transition, has established a new centralized booking team. There's 15 separate type promoters that have a team out of corporate that do daily contact with those individual promoters. The big ones, Live Nation, AEG, most people know. But then there are a bunch of others, Feld, who does obviously Disney on Ice, the circus, one of our monster trucks, Police Productions, Mammoth. There's 15 promoters that service us with a pretty high volume of events across all of our buildings. So now there is a team specifically out of the corporate office that will have daily interface with them and then work with the buildings to make sure that we work hard to increase our bookings in the buildings and improve. They're also looking at improving deal structures to incentivize those individuals to come into our buildings. So a lot of meetings on that, and then there are nightly showcases of talent. It's kind of talent below the arena level. It's more theater size or club size, but it's one big party in Nashville. For that. The next slide, state-of-the-art in-arena display upgrades. They're done.
Yeah.
You want to see something like just burn out of being able to get things done. Even I was surprised that we actually were able to get it designed, bid, and accomplished in short order. We opened on for the railers with it up and operating. Now it's all about the graphics and tweaking and making it do all kind of fancy neat things. It looks fabulous. We can walk out afterwards for those that are available that might like to see it. We will be doing the third level as well. We actually feel better about the third level now that this is installed, but that'll bring the warranties at the same time period.
Yeah,
technology will be the same. So we're going to move forward with that. And then the concourse is getting 12 large digital signs, and the 2 marquees are getting done. The most impact being the convention center marquee. All of that will be done before your trash is done. Sorry, Matt. It'll be done by mid to third weekend in November. So excited to get it all done. And the railers are thrilled. I tell you, if anybody came to the opening night of the railers, it just modernizes the building tremendously. So between that, the seats, thank you, the city, the sound system from the city, investments, it just feels a lot better in the arena at this point. So.
Yeah, we should get the back of the house in order.
I was saying until you get to the showers.
Until you take a shower.
Community.
Take a shower. Additionally, we did the club seats. Very proud of the fact that this is now ADA compliant. We've been dinged since 1987, and then ADA came in 1990 or whenever it did. And every time we would do a handicap walkthrough of the building, we were always dinged that this was just so far out of compliance. It was unusable for anybody in the handicap community. We did have to go from a 32 capacity to a 36 capacity to a 32 capacity. We also have 1 restroom, not 2 now, but it's ADA compliant. That looks terrific, and we also can look at that after the meeting if you'd like to.
So Sarah, you did this one in-house, that's what, it was
We did all of
never-
this
yeah,
in-house with prevailing wages. And there are 2 of them that we did, E and F, which were both originally done in 1987. So they look great.
Thanks, Penelope.
Next one, improvements, again, kind of all targeted for opening the railers season, is that the MBTA has renamed the rail yard. It is now the commuter rail yard.
Oh, nice.
They came in and branded this space. If you look up at the building from the outside, there's like a train running along the windows at the bottom, and then some branding within the space. It's not totally complete. They're going to do some more work in there, a couple more walls, but that is a great, the railer seller advertising, that was a great brand advertising for them, and it brings income to the building. It is a 5-year deal with the MBTA, so nice investment.
Nice.
And they also are doing other things with the railers for activation of their advertising in the building. The next big news that took place in the past month is that I think it's NCUA, the National Credit Union Association, has approved DCU. It's actually First Tech is taking over DCU, but they're going to use the DCU. I don't know what it's called.
Logo?
No, it's like their I don't know. Anyway, they're going to use the name of First Tech. So the vote has to be taken by First Tech. It'll be taken by I think it's the first week in December that the vote gets taken. Once that vote is taken and the First Tech members approve the merger between the two of them, in January, they will start the process of identifying where the name's going to change first. We expect that it will be our building. Certainly, Shruti, I'm not going to be able to pronounce her last name, but she is the current president of DCU. She has gone out publicly and said that yes, in fact, the DCU Center will become the first tech center.
Yeah.
So
See, who pays for the rebranding?
Just gonna ask that question.
it's in the report, the next to last bullet. By contract, all those costs go to DCU.
Okay.
And that is part of their contract. So there will be new signage throughout the building. When we do our walkthrough with the lighting with Populous, I'm going to ask them to give some input to what they might think that changes should be made or what's new in signage, particularly on the exterior. We have the large signs that DCU did originally. I would hope that there is new LED technology to be able to do those that might bring less utility costs, less repair work on them. So we'll be looking at all that signage with Populous when they come through. But then we have, from when we went from the Centrum to DCU, we have a long checklist that gets done for anything from, you know, uniforms and coffee cups all the way through signage, and then there will be a rebranding in the industry for the new name into the building. So that'll be both on the convention center industry side, meeting venues, etc., and the arena industry side. So that is a big project for 2027.
Within industry, does it create any kind of excitement or hook to have a rebranding, or is it just?
I wouldn't say excitement or hook. In the buildings now, they change names so fast.
So fast, it's just
with people not renewing their naming rights agreements. So I think the big thing, we went back after we changed to DCU and with some counsel from others, added Arena and Convention Center at the bottom, and then we had a logo that added Worcester, Massachusetts, because a lot of times people don't realize where it is. You change the name and it's like, where's United Center? You know, it's like, because the names don't change.
I would still call it Great Woods.
I was just gonna ask, you know, within the industry, does it create any confusion, you know, for us?
It does. It's the reason why we look for 10-year deals minimum on branding, because you want, if you're going to go out and do that effort, you want to have at least a 10-year run on a name. So I would say that the shortest naming rights deal out there is probably 10 years. We have, I think, 2.5 left in our agreement. It goes through 2027, which will be this time period for the rebranding, but we're actively looking for them. They have an extension right for another 7 years. We're actively looking for them to extend that 7 years since we're going through this process.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Putting the signs on the building, they're committed to the 7-year extension.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for them. There's going to be several $1 million to do the signage.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that they would extend. The next page, events that have taken place, event highlights, Sleep Token, the only play in New England. They are I think they're a British band, so they brought international attention. We did get a lot of international patrons coming into the city. Band members and the tour personnel, it's kind of a cultish thing. Nobody actually knows who the individuals are that are behind those masks. And so, being that it's a little bit cultish, we gave them a custom cake that was designed as their logo, but also engraved pewter chalices for each band member that recognize the sellout of the event. So they really appreciated that. Are you a follower?
No, I mean, I'm that person right there.
Oh, okay.
Never did ask them.
I made comment that it's the best kind of thing to do, because now anybody they could have like 8 different bands,
Yeah.
really. And
Go for 100 years and just
Yeah.
have a new front man.
They're immortal.
Yeah, they're immortal.
Mortality.
They're immortal. There you go. Hot Wheels did terrific. It was up 31% from last year. This was their 3rd appearance here. First year they did terrific, and then last year they kind of fell off. We were a little concerned, but in the last week coming into this year, they did over 5,000 tickets, so did terrific. We had Dippin' Dots, which is a Legends Global deal. They came back in with some short money for sponsorship fees, but those all add up over the years. or over the year when they come in event after event and throw, you know, a couple $1,000s towards sponsorship. And this has become kind of recurring in our calendar, and we expect it to continue in that October time period. Railers opening weekend, 8th ECHL season for the venue. Mike Myers now reports it's the longest run he's had with any of the hockey teams. So opening night, they had a block party on Commercial Street, closed Commercial Street. It was very well received. They had bouncy houses and vendors and a band. They reported over 6,500 fans attending the game. Kids opening day the following day had featured Bluey. I think they reported about 3,500 attending that game. And unfortunately, they lost both games. So hockey wasn't so good, but the fan activities were terrific. Convention Center recap.
So going to a few that we just recently had, New England Donor Services, so it's people involved with the donation of organs and tissues and that to save people's lives. So it was a conference we had for about 150 people. DCF, Department of Children and Families, this is kind of an offshoot. We do their holiday party every year. So this was a conference that, because of what we do, they came here. And it's to deal with fathers and people that are helping in that industry. But they also helped us with another event. They were contracted for a certain date, and they obliged us in being able to move so we could accommodate Bank of America this past week. I'll talk more about that next month, but a very large event that we just hosted. And they were good enough to move so we could accommodate it. And the last one was Rise Up Massachusetts, or Light Up Massachusetts, religious event we had this past Saturday night. It was actually about 3,000 people. It was in the exhibit hall, a very, very high energy religious event from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to about 8 o'clock at night. Same time that we had the opening night of the Railers, and Bank of America was moving in upstairs. So very active Saturday we had this past Saturday, and that was part of it.
Upcoming, Bring Me the Horizon went on sale. Again, only New England play that's going to take place. This is a revival of this band, so they are pretty explosive at this point. Let's see, they played over 50 countries, sold out concerts, headlined major festivals, and 1 billion YouTube views. They were ranked among the top 500 most streamed artists on Spotify. So looking forward to that. It's selling very well. We expect it to sell out. Additionally, TSO is coming back. This in the past, since the last meeting, we've put on sale WWE, Harlem Globetrotters, and Nate Bargatze is in April. More to come. WWE hadn't been here for, I would say, almost a year, so that got a lot of views when we get to social media. A lot of interest in WWE returning.
Sandy, were either of those two concerts that you highlighted part of the promoter, the
Central booking team?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah, that's just occurred in the last. Those were
Okay.
those were booked 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
All right.
A couple of the upcoming convention centers, mass facilities, expo. It's people involved with running buildings like this or schools, or so it's the facilities people. While they're here on Tuesday, they're actually going to be doing a tour of our back area, looking at the chillers and all that kind of stuff. In the past, we've hosted this event a few times.
Do you attend that? That's good. That's good.
Probably
you
one
to
of
attend.
And in the past, they've toured Polo Park, they've toured Union Station. So it's our staff gets some help out of it because they get some hints as to what goes on. The Harvest Cup, the annual Cannabis Expo, brings thousands of people here to the city. So it's fun, everybody's happy. And then the U.S. Heat Pump Summit, new trade show. They do an East, this will be the first time they do an East Coast. They've been doing one on the West Coast. So we're dealing with some people from California on it. They're thrilled. They're doing better registration than they ever expected, and they're looking to grow it even higher next year. So they use the entire exhibit hall.
Social media, WWE, as I mentioned, was the top view for our social media. Nate Bargatze also had a lot of views. From September to October, we increased 116% in our total reach. So continues to be pretty amazing with marketing, continues to push out. So on the next page, media coverage, terrific media coverage as usual. Disney on Ice, we should see in the next couple days. They finally returned to do their UMass visit. They had been doing that for years, but we hadn't done one since 2019. The visit being a visit to the UMass Pediatric Ward. They take one of the characters and go there and interface with the children. So Mickey Mouse was able to spend the day at the UMass Pediatric Ward. Then recaps from food and beverage. The Ice Nine Kills in silver screen. I think we typed that wrong. Silver screen
Right.
ponds and Ice Nine Kills and Sleep Token. Both were pretty low for their per caps. Both those audiences were not heavy alcohol drinkers. I think they were going to the Harvest Fest instead of getting the alcohol and buying merch.
Sam, do you see that as a trend?
Yes,
Low
that
per
is-
caps?
Well, it depends on the genre of artist. For the younger set, they are drinking less. For the older set, they're probably drinking more. But yes, the younger set is less apt to be grabbing alcohol. This charcuterie that Food and Beverage did was pretty clever. We do that VIP room in the commuter rail yard prior to events. In addition to your ticket, you can purchase an early admission, and it comes with apps and a private bathroom and a private bartender so that you're not out in the concourse with a melee. So for this particular one, Sleep Token, they kind of ran with the cultish and did this skeleton charcuterie, which was very, very well received by the audience. Jim?
Some of the events that we had, Northeast Bridge Preservation, based out of Michigan State University, and it was their first time coming here, and they loved the building, and as a result, we have actually had a couple other inquiries from within their organization to do other events here. MHEC, Mass Higher Education Consortium, brought about 1,000 people here. They hosted a lot. That next year they're looking to bring their board dinner here as well, which was off-site this year. And then we just helped celebrate the Diocese of Worcester's 75th anniversary with almost 450 guests. And they were celebrating people that did volunteerism during the year from the Diocese of Worcester. So there was a lot of presentations. And,
Congratulations.
and him mowing. And I was actually one of the recipients of an award at it. Good work for volunteerism, I guess. So, nice event.
So, in operations, security department, this Culture City, I actually thought this would be perfect, right up Penny's alley. That Culture City is a website that basically they certify and authorize venues across the country that are have sensory accessibility objects and rooms. If you are an individual who either has a child or for yourself have sensory issues, you're able to go on that website and find venues and locations and events that you would be able to access these rooms when you're there in case you have need. So they require a fairly extensive certification, and they require all your staff to be trained in how to deal with individuals that have sensory accessibility issues. So we worked with them throughout the summer and have now been certified and are located on their website that we are a certified venue. The three major components is one, all the staff being certified on how to work with sensory issues. And secondly, a quiet room for all events, and it's certified in both buildings, the arena and the convention center. So if somebody comes in and they need space, a quiet space, we will always have a quiet space available. And then there are these bags that they can check in and get these bags, and they have fidget toys and weighted blankets and things that would allow somebody to calm. They can borrow them while they're here, or they can purchase them, whichever they prefer. Obviously, they're not marked up, but they can just borrow them while they're here if they prefer. and they need to check in at the box office in the arena or check in with a security guard in the convention center. And the point for that is that the quiet rooms are off the beaten path, thus the reason they're quiet. But if we ever had an emergency in the building, we need to know that somebody's actually accessed the quiet room for the day. So that's all in place at this point, and there's signage out for individuals that might want to access the quiet areas or the sensory bags. Physical plan, I will tell you they were a little behind on the report on operations, so they kind of blew through a couple of things here. In putting in the 300 level, or I'm sorry, the 100 level ring beam advertising at the end zones, if we would have left the chairs there, you would have bashed your head in. So we needed to remove the rear row at both ends of the building, and because there's a platform there where those seats were, operations needed to go in and put a gate up so that people wouldn't access and walk over the top or use it as standing room space. So they did that again in the last month or so. On the sides, we also had held those seats for all the events that are currently on sale until it got installed. We've looked at it. It's not ideal, but we don't want to lose more seats, and it's okay. We now have tagged them that when you buy those tickets on Ticketmaster, they're tagged that they have a height restriction. So people will be forewarned to be careful at those locations. Right?
Like the old Boston Garden, we used to sit behind the column.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, you can't see anything, but in the changeover and housekeeping departments, you know, they're just full of projects and changeovers and putting in ice, and probably the most notable here is that we're preparing now for the Oval to open at the end of November, so we sent the skates out to be sharpened and prepared and deodorized for the season, and then they're repairing other equipment as we're pulling it out for this season to be able to have it all ready to go. And then housekeeping projects continue with deep cleaning. Jim actually authorized outside carpet cleaning organization to come in for the ballroom pre-function area. Came out great. We have carpet cleaning equipment, but not that deep steam type of equipment. So he had them come in to do a deep dive into cleaning the carpet. And like I said, it came out great. And then we cleaned up Bob Cousy's nose out of the plaza. Because we're coming kind of to the end, I do want to just note on Bob Cousy, because it was kind of my goal, and we never got it done, and I'm not going to get it done in 72 days, that we rename Foster Street to Cousy Way.
Oh, nice.
And it would only impact 3 businesses, because there's not a lot of businesses on Foster Street, so 3 or 4 businesses. But Foster Street has no moniker. So I'm going to drop that with a couple of people as we leave.
Has that gone through the council? Or?
It hasn't, but it would be a nice thing to do. And it would be, like we said with the statue, it would be better if he was still living when it got done. So moving on, finance. Melissa, you're up.
Okay, so we're looking at August. Total event income for August was $93,000 below budget, primarily due to a budgeted MMA event that did not occur. Indirect expenses had savings of $53,000. Year-to-date results ahead of budget by $59,000.
So we're in good shape 2 months in.
Yeah.
Box office new hire orientation. I'll take it just to move us along. You can read the bullets there. They do kind of a broad sweep because the box office is front of house for us. They're the ones that are interfacing a lot with customers and a lot on the telephone. So they do a terrific job giving them orientation. I also noted here that Legend security protocols, we did lots of meetings during the summer, and one of them is that in the arena, everything now is required to have metal detecting. If you go back to last year, Disney on Ice, the truck pull, monster trucks that we did, and the railers did not have security protocols with the metal detectors. Now we are requiring every event, not just high risk or concert events, to have security screenings. The downside of that is for the sold out events, we had to rent metal detectors because many of ours are broken and not repairable. So on the radar needs to be a replacement of all the metal detectors here, and then a handful that'll still remain can be put out to other city buildings as needed, but they're getting rough at this point. And then moving on to sales.
So for some of the events this past month, we did 22 contracts for 28 days of events. Looking at a few of them there, it's actually tomorrow we have DECA. It's a high school event, so we'll have about 700 mainly students with people involved in the DECA program that takes place in high schools. Moving on down, we have East Coast Hockey Expo. It's the first time event here, and it's going to be taking place next August. So families and everybody coming in to look at hockey and experiment with hockey. There'll be equipment and hands-on capabilities. Tech Connection Graduation. So this is a virtual high school, and so we've been doing some of their testings here where they bring people together, and it's all homeschool people with the virtual school, but they've decided to do their graduation here, and that's going to be in the arena for about 4,500 people. And we just went on sale yesterday with a Brazilian concert, or 2 days ago, expecting about 8,000 people in the arena with a very high-end musical act from Brazil itself. And then just on to some proposals. The next page, New England Tree Masters is people in the tree work industry, tree cutters, and there's a industry meeting for everything, and Mount Wachusett Community College is looking at moving their graduation here as well. So we just had a meeting with them a couple weeks ago. So we're running out of dates. So we're pretty busy.
And with that, that is our report. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, if I may? Just one thing, and I was saying, we talked a little bit about it last year, but as graduation season starts to come here, and I know you guys are going to be probably gone, but is there any way we can anticipate a problem like we had at the graduation last year where they oversold tickets, and maybe, you know, have an area set up where you can simulcast, where it's not going to cost a whole bunch of money, but we could also accommodate people in case something like that happens. I just hate the fact that, you know, you're going to have relatives coming in from out of state and they're not allowed to attend somebody's graduation.
So we've been having conversations with the schools already.
Yeah.
It happened with 2 schools, one of the city schools and one of the out-of-town schools.
Yeah.
And both are going to be strictly enforcing ticket situation, where in the past they hadn't done tickets to that degree. The one that's out of town had never done tickets at all. And so I had about an hour conversation with the principal. They actually may have us produce the tickets for them, so that way the students can't reproduce them somehow.
But if not, it would nice to have a plan B in place.
It's
just to
tough
accommodate.
because we don't have the space to do it because they use the exhibit hall. And we've talked about expanding it, and every school I've talked to already said, I don't want to expand it any more than what we've done. Because we do have the South Hall, and we could make it larger, but they've all said we're comfortable with the amount of space that we're using at this point. So
It's really the organizer's decision.
I get it, but I can't think of anything worse than, you know, especially an elderly, relative coming in. And,
Don't disagree, but that's why they do the tickets, and, you know, in this particular case, it was counterfeiting by their students that resulted in the issue.
Yeah.
We've encouraged them, as Jim said, they're only using half the hall. Use the whole hall. They don't want to move to the arena. Some did. Wachusett schools started over here and then moved to the arena to be able to get more space. So there's options for them. The other part is that if we did what you were suggesting, or if they chose to do what you were suggesting, they would need to set up cameras and be able to broadcast it in-house to another room. We can do that, but they have to pay the expense of it. So they would have
any idea what the money cost is?
it's their choice of whether or not they want to do it.
But you have no idea what that dollar.
They don't want to do it, so.
and if the space that you're building or putting it, is it going to be enough to handle that overflow too?
Yeah. And
Because there's limitations.
they would rent the additional space in addition, so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we've had many conversations with the schools already.
Yeah. It seems like we're getting more and more, so it's, you know, I mean, it's a good thing, so.
They could literally broadcast it on the internet, and you could sit at home and watch it if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And a couple of the schools have already said that this year they're going to stream it so they can do it. And some had in the past, but.
All right.
Okay. So, yeah.
Anything else? Thank you guys for all your work.
Thank you.
Just, we are running into our November, December meeting scheduling. So we don't normally do a meeting in November because of Thanksgiving. If I recall, historically it was December 4th.
Yep.
Just confirming, because we just set up now next week's meeting. Is
Yep.
December 4th still the week you prefer?
Yep, that's
Yep.
good.
And then okay, so we'll do that and then come back in January.
Yeah, just FYI for everybody, we have our special meeting for our community day on Wednesday, 8:30, the only item on the agenda. And then our next general meeting will be December 4th at 8:30 a.m.
Tony, just one more thing, if I
Yes,
may.
sir.
Just talk a little bit about, secession plans and stuff here. And I can't say that I'm not a little bit uncomfortable, that you folks are leaving. I mean, it puts a lot of onus on the city, puts a lot of onus on us as board members. And I just want to understand the process a little bit. So is this all going to be legends, or does the city have any input? I would like to think that, at least the manager would know who they're thinking of bringing here. Is it going to be somebody local? We certainly lose I can't, none of us can express, what we're losing with you leaving.
So I can answer that.
Sure.
So the good news is that in the model that you have here with a private management company, you're not losing anything because the company is what we represent. We have systems and procedures that will stay and continue. If you go back to, a building that would have an individual that was running their arena or their convention center, when that person left, everything left. Our model's not that way. So you will have complete consistency going forward as far as an operation in the building. My boss, Les Crooks, who's I think come in at least one meeting, he came in the day before the announcement, met with the city manager to inform him that the change was going to happen, and discussed with him, our process of it's posted now for both our positions on our website, that he will come through and screen candidates and then bring 2 or 3 candidates, depending on how many are brought up to the top, in front of the city manager, so that the city manager has input to that process. My expectation is that he is likely to hire or identify a GM candidate first, because the assistant general manager candidate will probably need to be complementary to that general manager candidate. I don't think that there would be that same process for the assistant general manager. I think that would move right along, and or be promoted from within. We have directors here that may apply for those. We expect that there will be a couple of local candidates. We also identified some regional candidates that maybe they worked here at one time, or maybe we've interfaced with them at their building, but they've never been through this building. There are people in our company that are maybe based in California, but they're from this area, so now this could be an opportunity for them to return. They may not be a known quantity in the city of Worcester, but they know the greater region because they were born and raised here, and their career took them to another place. So we think that there are some of those candidates. So I think there'll be a broad spot of candidates. I will say that to our credit, this is a big building. We have 3 divisions in our company. We have the arena division, arena stadiums and theaters, and then we have the convention center division, and actually then we have the theater division. But this really crosses over 2 divisions, the arenas and the convention centers. We align, my boss is an arena, I go up that side of the tree for this building, but Jim is very focused on ensuring that we also are on all the calls, all the sales calls, all the GM calls in the convention center side, so that we're getting all that expertise as well. So it's not an easy one to fill because you've got both sides of the business. But they're on it. They're on it.
And Melissa and Bridget aren't allowed to leave on the Wednesday.
I will say too that we chose a date for public announcement that worked from an industry standpoint, that worked from a not having lame ducks from the industry standpoint, but also from the staff standpoint. But there's been several months prior to that our corporate office was aware and talking about succession planning, so it's not as short of a time period as it may seem to the public.
Well, you, like I say, big shoes to fill for both the end.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your efforts. It's
We
a
are
no
not
for the city. I mean,
and we're not going
it's-
anywhere. If our company came to us and said, and I have several peers that this has happened to, we need you to stay 2 more months or 6 more months or 2 more years, or we're not gonna walk away. We're not gonna walk away. Nothing's going to bump and not get done. I mean, we're committed to the building. We put 40 years into the building. We're not gonna walk away.
Yeah,
Guys,
this
it's
has
been
been our
here
way.
since the doors opened.
Yeah.
Can I ask
Yeah, I've been
just
here since
real
doors open.
quick question? Will you guys have any input to the successors?
Yes,
Good.
yes. We've already been asked, like, what traits that we think, do we have ideas of candidates? Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, we won't be in the decision, but we've already been sought for information, and I'm sure they'll also have us interview candidates.
Good.
So.
All right, well, it's gonna be a tough day, but we'll get through it. But with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second? So moved, adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.